Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. First of all, I'd just like to thank everybody who's liked and subscribed so far. Very much appreciated. The channel is growing nice and slowly. I think I'd rather have that than a big spike and then everything drop off at the end, so to speak. Whatever this is. Anyway, today what I thought I'd do is talk about the Goldstar in the winter. Now, I got the bike October last year, that's 2024, and I rode it throughout the winter. Now, the only other bike I've ever ridden through the winter was my Triumph Tiger 1050, which was kind of made for it. So I was a little bit apprehensive about the Goldstar. Tyres aren't as wide, etc, etc. So what I'm going to do today is go through various aspects of the Goldstar in the winter and give you my thoughts, and there might be something at the end that surprises you a little bit, so do watch till the end. So without further ado, let's get cracking. What I'm going to talk about is build quality and how I prepared the bike for winter and what the results were at the end of it. I actually covered the bike in wax oil. It's the first time I've ever used the stuff, and whilst it's a little bit messy, it really does do the job. Pretty much covered the whole bike in it, apart from the brakes, of course, and the discs. Otherwise I wouldn't be stopping anywhere. And overall it works very well. I know Bennett's did a test of about 25 different concoctions which you can use to protect your bike, and wax oil actually came out on top, even though he didn't give it the top spot because he found it difficult to get off. Now, I use something called Motor Verde degreaser, and that is fantastic. You just spray it on, leave it 15 minutes and hose it off. It really is fantastic stuff. So I never had a problem with it. Now, when I did wash it all off, I did notice that I must have missed a little bit of the wax oil just near the front forks, the bit that holds the mud guard on. I'll put a photograph of it up. So there was a little bit of corrosion there, and then the odd nut and bolt again, which I must have missed. But apart from that, the bike held up extremely well. Now, we didn't have a severe winter in the UK last year, not in Yorkshire anyway, but they did salt the roads, and there were occasions where on top of the hills we did encounter some snow and some frost, so it wasn't a completely mild winter. But overall, the build quality wasn't bad at all. The one thing that I did notice that I was a little bit disappointed with was the quality of the chain. The chain took a bit of a hammering despite me cleaning it regularly and putting chain oil on it. It didn't do really well. It ended up really pitted. So in the spring I got the chain swapped out for a better quality one, so hopefully we'll have better luck this winter. So yeah, so that's that's sort of the build quality and the prep. That's all I did. Obviously washed the bike down or sprayed snow foam on it after every ride, and then just hose it down afterwards, and that seems to do the job. The good thing about the wax oil, it doesn't come off when you hose it and wax oil it, but what you don't want to be doing is washing it with a sponge or anything like that, because it'll just get all messy and it'll make a complete mess of your sponge. So I would recommend wax oil. You just need to be a little bit careful and don't be afraid to just leave it. The bike does look a complete mess by the end of the winter, but I can assure you when you take it off it ends up pretty much like new. So that was my first thing. And the second is engine performance. How did the engine cope with it being a big 650 single? How did the engine cope when it's been very cold? Well, to be honest, I never had any problems. It started first time every time. Now I do keep it on a battery tender all year round when I'm not using it, so I don't know what it would be like if you didn't in the winter. I suspect the battery would probably go flat like it does with most batteries, but for me it wasn't a problem at all. The engine seemed to warm up at the same kind of time it does in the summer, and you could pretty much get cracking straight away. I know some bikes I've had in the past, it takes a good while for the engine to get fully warm, and in the winter. But say with the Goldstar it didn't seem to cause any issues whatsoever. In terms of fuel economy, I didn't really notice any difference, to be honest. Seemed to run the same. So from a mechanical point of view, it was good. Obviously make sure you keep the tyre pressures up to what they should be, and I didn't really have any problems at all. So that's the engine side of it. In terms of the handling, if you take it steady, I mean some of the roads that I go on, as I'm sure you've seen some from the videos that I've put up in the past, are mainly little back roads, country roads up in the Yorkshire Dales, and in the winter they do get covered in an awful lot of crap, literally crap, usually cows, but also a lot of loose gravel and leaves can be a big problem as well. And I was a little bit sceptical about the tyres. However, they weren't too bad as long as you took it nice and easy and expected something horrific around every bend. If you ride like that with a Goldstar, it's pretty forgiving. I don't think I had any close moments with it at all. The brakes are quite keen, as I'm sure those of you who've got the Goldstar know, so again need to be a little bit more gentle on your braking perhaps, but again just ride to the road conditions, which is just common sense, and that's the same for every bike, isn't it, really? In terms of comfort, yeah, it was okay. I mean, with it being a naked bike, you get quite a lot of wind blast on your chest, so some days it was particularly chilly, but I just layer up with lots of thin layers, thermal thin layers, and overall it's just not too bad. And I have invested in some heated gloves this year, and so far it seems to be working pretty well. I mean, today's temperature is, it says about 8 degrees, but I think it's cold. I think it's colder than that. It's a beautiful day, as you can see, but I think it's one of the chilliest mornings we've had so far. And what the weather forecast says, it looks like we might be getting a bit of snow or sleet or something towards the back end of the week. Something to look forward to. Anyway, I'll be up in Scotland working, so I think it's going to be even colder up there. So yeah, in terms of the comfort and the handling, no great problems really. So how practical is it in the winter? Well, I would say pretty good really. As I said, it didn't stop me going most places, as long as I was careful. Could have been a few places I'd like to have gone which I probably just wouldn't risk it, to be honest. Not necessarily because the bike wouldn't do it, just that it is a relatively new bike, it's only a year old, and I didn't want to mess it up, to be honest. And there is always that fear in the winter of dropping the bike, again on the roads that I go on especially. So there were a few rides, or roads rather, that I decided not to go on, but broadly speaking it was okay. The bar and mirrors helped a lot. The pin lock in the helmet, of course, helps in the winter. And as long as I kept on top of the lubing of the chain, etc., not a problem whatsoever. So from a practicality point of view, yeah, pretty good. So how would I rate the Goldstar overall, riding through the winter? Well, if I had to give it a mark out of 10, I think I'd probably give it about a 7.5 to 8. And the reason I wouldn't give it any more, I say, is because of the fact that there are some things that I personally wouldn't do on it in the winter, places I wouldn't go. I mean, some people might be happy doing that, but I wasn't prepared to do so. So yeah, if you are thinking of riding the Goldstar throughout the winter, then as long as you wrap up warm, treat the roads with respect, particularly in relation to the weather conditions. Keep the bike well maintained, cover it in the preparation of your choice. So I would highly recommend wax oil, despite what people might say about it. And yeah, enjoy it. Now the surprise may be that for this winter I am thinking seriously about getting a bit of a winter hack. And again, nothing to do with the bike, the Goldstar. As I said, it's proved itself to be a pretty good bike in the winter. But it really comes down to the fact that the bike is a year old, it's in pretty good nick. I've done the cosmetic mods to it, which, if you haven't seen the video on my mods, please take a look. I'll put a link at the end of the video so you can take a look. And I don't really want to get those ruined, so I have got a bike in mind. That's, I think, is a bit of a bargain, to be honest. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but if you can guess what it is, the first person to guess what it is will get one of my stickers, and I'll pop it in the post to you. I'm not really going to give you any more clues, but it is something that's a little bit more practical perhaps, than something that you can pretty much just hose down and forget about for most of the winter. And I'm told they're super reliable. So yeah, in fact what I'll do, first 3 people to get it right, I'll send them a sticker. Now I'm going to get my stickers redone, so the one that I will be sending you is a limited edition of 10. So you'll have something that no one else will have apart from 10 other people, or 9 other people, of which one of them is me, obviously. So once again, thank you very much for listening. I look forward to hearing from you. Let me know what your thoughts are if you've ridden a Goldstar throughout the winter and what prep you did. Or if you've got a winter hack as well as your Goldstar, let me know what it is. And say, don't forget to have a guess what I'm probably going to get. And if you could like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. And I shall see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.